I'm gonna kind of do this one like just a little quick one because I had seen some more astrology people talking about what this new alignment, this alignment that's supposed to happen. I don't know, here in the beginning of April. I'm gonna go and watch these other people what they're talking about, and then I'll probably come in and talk about that. But this was talking about something else, so I thought I'm just gonna go in and do this one real quick before I watch those other things. Because I keep seeing all of these headlines like, oh, Will Smith and Chris Rock, and you know what was going on, and when they started this fight years ago, and you know what's really behind this. Like, oh my God, they got Jimmy Kimmel, they got all of them. They pulled out everything. You know, they've got to push this so far, and people are just eating it up, eating it up. And you know, I mean, it's sad that people are this gullible, and it will, you know, follow any little, like always, all they got to do is get people to look over here at this stage, because this stage is the one where everything's happening. So when they misdirect people, hey, everybody, look over here, look at this. And everybody's like, oh, so starved for drama. And they just got to rush over there. Like, we don't have enough drama going on in the world. We need to go and watch some bullshit about Will Smith and Chris Rock. Are you fucking kidding me? So clearly there's something going on that they want to keep hidden right now. This is a distraction. When something gets this big and it's this ridiculous, bet your ass it's a distraction. There's something going on that they don't want us to see right now. And, you know, I mean, it's super hard for us to be able to find it out anyways, but it's out there somewhere. There's something going on. And no telling what it is, because if those planetary alignments are right, then shit's about to get really crazy. So, yeah, definitely 100%. This whole thing is a big old distraction. And I wouldn't have thought that many people would jump on the bandwagon and be, you know, into this celebrity drama that's going on. It's like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a flying fuck about what the fuck these people are doing? Are you kidding me? It's sad. It's super, super sad that people are this shallow. And I mean, seriously, it's like such ignorance. And it's always these distractions, though. This is what keeps humanity in this stagnant place, you know, and not doing their healing and playing these games and participating in the main stage game of this world, of this life. You know, yesterday I was watching a bunch of movies on Prime. I don't even want to go outside. I love to go outside. Stella loves to go outside. And, you know, she's really having a hard time. And, you know, it's probably because she's not taking the pharmaceuticals, but I'm giving her the RSO all the time. But she's super stiff, so I'm doing the massages and everything like that. But she, I swear to God, it's something with the chemicals, the toxins that are in the atmosphere. And I think it's why people's hair is falling out. Like, so many people's hair is falling out. Think about what happens with chemo. Chemo is a poison that causes our hair to fall out. So, you know, and it only makes sense when they are putting all of these toxins and poisons out into our atmosphere, into our environment, into our food and stuff, that of course it's going to cause our hair to fall out. It's going to cause us to get sick. It's going to cause, I saw yesterday, what was it? It was something, might have been something about somebody, an older person having a stroke, or maybe it was the heart attack thing. And I was thinking about, and look at how they get us to just accept that. Like, when we get older, we're going to get fatter. We're going to get weaker. Our metabolism is going to slow down. Like, they tell us this stuff, and then we believe it. So we live our lives like that. We follow the plan. So when we break the narrative, we see, you know, like I said yesterday, you can have a 90-year-old out riding a bike. Don't tell me that, you know, we automatically get weaker and fatter just because we get older. No, that the whole thing about weight, I really see it so much now as a protection. You know, the soul creates a protective barrier, or the body creates a protective barrier. So it's harder to get to the soul because the soul feels raw and in pain. And so emotional eating is a lot of what puts on the pounds onto people. It has nothing to do with aging. It has everything to do with not healing your issues, not dealing with what causes you pain. And then people just believe that, oh, well, if they got older and they had a heart attack, that's acceptable because we just expect it. But what if we shouldn't be expecting it at all? What if it's just the toxins building up and making people sicker, making them fatter, making their organs shut down sooner, aging them ahead of time, making hair fall out? Like, all of it is the toxins, I think. And so, it's a big reason why I don't want to go outside right now, is because the sky is a weird color. Even yesterday, there was some sort of light from somewhere. I don't think it was the sun, because when the sun, it's over me. It's not out, like where I've talked about, like it's out yonder somewhere, and it'll go over. And so the sky was this real weird, eerie light. Like right now, it's just this super eerie, the light. It's not a natural color. It almost looks like if you went somewhere and, a really heavy fog comes in, what the color is without fog, but you can't see through the fog. This is like that color, but there's not the fog, but it's that same kind of color. It's just a really weird, eerie color. And yesterday when this light was shining at, I don't know, a couple times during the day for like 15 minutes or so, you could see all of this orange in the sky and these peach and pink and stuff. You could see the clouds were holding on to all of these colors, which those are the heavy metals and stuff. So yeah, I just know there's a lot of toxins out there, and I should be going out and getting fresh air, but too bad it's not fresh air. It's really poisonous toxins. And Stella wants to be out there all the time, and she's really struggling, but I mean, what am I going to do? How am I going to get her to be convinced she needs to stay in all day long because there's toxins in the air? And but I could totally feel it when I went out that other day, and right away I started feeling like my heart was going faster. I felt like really weird. So and I had been feeling so weird for like 5 days or 7 days or something, just this super anxious feeling. I don't normally get anxiety like that, and plus, even if you start feeling nervous about something, you get like a way to, self-talk, calm yourself down, to pull yourself out of there, change the channel or something. When it's this other kind of energy, it doesn't feel like you have control like that. It feels like it's just overwhelming, and I know other people are feeling, this heavy energy, and it is hard. It does make you feel really super scattered, makes you feel really defeated. It felt so like such a heavy burden was on me. Like it was a horrible feeling. And that's why I was thinking, man, if this is one of my neighbors feeling this is horrible. Like I can see, like when someone starts feeling like this, why they would go and kill themselves. It is so draining, and it is like in those scary movies and stuff where it represents, like it has like a demon over here just chattering in your head, ridiculing you, putting you down. That is kind of a representation to me of the energy that attaches to you, that really does start feeding into those kinds of things. So you will start getting these like heavy, dark messages. I've talked about this so many times, and why we have to learn to have discernment over the energy that is coming at us and the messaging that is behind that energy, because it's not just like little demons and stuff. It's actual like free energy looking to attach. So looking to try and figure out what it is. Like we are in a much further, evolution as consciousness to be able to incarnate and to live and try and understand who and what we are. So we're much more evolved than some consciousness that are still out there just as free energy and trying to figure out what it is, trying to understand what it is. And certain things are drawn like an energy that feels good when it's attached to something that is dark or something, because that energy is, when we are feeding that energy, we are, the adrenaline and all of our fear and all of our panic is, it's kind of like, I don't know, the word that came to my head is a erotic kind of feeling towards that energy. It's very drawn in. It feels really good. So it feels like an intense passion, like excitement or something, to feel that. They don't know that they are feeding into fear or whatever, because we're feeding it. It's up to us to realize what we're feeding, what we're doing, and how we're drawing that to us. By feeding it, we're drawing more and making it bigger. Hold on. She's having a bad day already. Come on. Stop, come on, I'm doing something. Okay, I'm going to shut the door. Why do you do that? If you want to come in, then come in when I open the door. It actually is super foggy out right now. And it wasn't foggy a minute ago. Now the fog's rolling in. I don't know, maybe that means that they're bringing out the illumination disc. Because usually when they bring that out and they turn it on, it just creates all of this fog. Because I think it's something with the atmosphere and the heat, because it's not normal, whatever this thing is that they bring in for this artificial light, or this thing that they put over as a reflective thing to make it more intense, so that they can push their agenda of climate change and, all the bullshit. And don't forget, I'm in Washington State. So, we are beta for this bullshit. We are the first ones to close down. I think that we are being so tested on so many things up here, because, it's the progressive liberal state, where it's funny because on one side of the state, it's not like that, but it's the more heavy populated side that is very progressive and liberal, and, you gotta do it because it's the right thing to do. And, that's why still, even after it's lifted, you still see people doing it. So, it is sad, but, the more progressive you want to be, the more you want to please the system, the more that you want to be a leader in doing what's right, but you're being misled. So, you're going off the cliff behind the Pied Piper. And these Pied Pipers, I mean, they're so desperate for who knows what now to cover up their crimes. I mean, Will Smith, he got an award for that, big old award. I don't even know what the hell movie he would have gotten an award for. But there's a lot of good actors and actresses that are being, discounted so that they can push the agenda with their spokespeople. So, his big performance at the Oscars got him on. So, the other thing, okay, so what I was, yesterday when I was watching the movie, I might just be skipping off of something and didn't finish it, but, maybe it'll come back to me. But yesterday I was watching these old movies. I found a bunch of old movies on Prime that were, I think they're probably more like inspirational movies. And those always kind of bother me too, because they're always pushing an agenda about, oh, you don't have to worry. Jesus has got this for you. God's got this. Well, the universe does have your back, but it is not in the way that people think, because sometimes you have to go through bad things, because that's what creates the change. That's what creates growth. And people think, well, if they go through bad things, then they must be bad people. They must be being punished. So, that's another thing, what they've misled people to cause them to not understand. Like when you're going through something, it's really a gift from the universe so that you can release something, because you do go life after life after life. You build up certain things happen. You carry trauma from life after life, and you come in to heal things. You come in to play the part to help others heal things. So when you start really understanding what life is about, it takes away so much of the anger, the pressure, the feeling defeated, the feeling like life's out to get you, because it's all, happening for you. It's not happening against you. But the narrative has pushed it to have people feel like it's happening against them. But what's really happening against them is this dark energy that has become so in charge of this reality, because it's basically they created the reality. But like I've said a zillion times, the reality is used by souls to come in and learn. So there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for the changing of the ages. There's a reason we come in and go through horrible traumas like the depression and all of these things that people go through, because it expands you as a consciousness. Just like I've said before, if you just went in and you were playing parts and you were learning from all the parts, that's the same thing what reincarnation is. And so I just think it really takes away a lot of the pain of life when you really understand what life is all about and what a soul's journey is all about. But so yesterday when I was watching, those movies, I was watching this one, and it was these people, these hill people, which, they would call them now hillbillies, but they lived like deep in Kentucky in the hills. And this is some true story. I couldn't keep up with the story because I have a problem being able to, from my brain injury, it messed up something with the face recognition and names and stuff. Like, it's really hard for me to keep up with what characters. That's why I can't watch series from week to week. I can't even remember who the hell the people are, what's going on with them. So, and it's some story like that, and people are changing ages, and it's, I just can't keep up with it. It seemed like it was something about the music, which I love the music from a long time ago. It was like how June Carter, which she got started with the music that she was doing. I had seen a thing about, I think it was called Songbird or something. And this one was also called something with a song. Like, I can't remember what. I could look it up. But anyways, in that one is where I'd seen about the music and how it was a blend of these different countries coming together and creating these sounds that were, they are very, not whimsical, they're haunting, kind of, I think. I love the way that the women do this, like, sing-song kind of up and down. I just love how it sounds. I did a little short of it. And the little fiddles and the banjos and stuff. But so when they were creating these different sounds and stuff, so I love that music. And it has, like, a deep part of this soulful time of a period of time in human history. And there's a lot of music that came from this time, but it is almost like it's forgotten. I don't know. I would imagine if you go back in the hills, you would still hear people playing it, but I would think that it has been kind of forgotten, just like a lot of stuff with the Indians. They've been pushed so much to leave history. That is what, like when my grandpa came over from the Ukraine, and my grandma ended up marrying an immigrant. He was a little kid when he came. I think he was like 10 or 12 or something. And his whole family came over, and they were escaping. I think it was during, it was definitely during some kind of war. Just definitely during some kind of takeover by the, the bad people. And because they were escaping something, came to America. And then my grandma, when she married him, my mom said, that it was super embarrassing. She was really embarrassed. She didn't want people to know she married an immigrant. Why would they make it like that? You just got to question why they wanted to take our connection to any kind of culture and stuff, because they're trying to whitewash us. There's a whole purpose to this taking the melanin out of the blood and whitewashing us to create their little droid, mindless kind of race, because the melanin, something with the iron is a transmitter, something for the messaging for the soul or something. It's something about it. I'm not sure all this stuff. Hopefully, we'll get to find out some of this stuff, but there's something to it. And there's something to this whitewashing us and taking away our culture. And, but yesterday when I was watching, because this was in the mountains and stuff, and these people were talking really slow, and I started thinking, all of the different immigrants that were coming over back then, because when I was watching Outlander, and they made a whole thing about when they were leaving Scotland and coming into America and went to North Carolina, which in North Carolina, there really was a huge amount of Scottish immigrants that went there, and they still have a big, huge festival. I think it's called the Kingsman Festival or something. When my sister was living there, she was telling me to go. She would go all the time because my other grandpa is Scottish, and so she knew our clans, and she'd go talk to the different people and stuff. And I really wanted to go. It seemed like, super fun kind of thing to go to these big festivals where they do all of these old kind of games that they used to do a long time ago. But anyways, so in Outlander, when it was showing about the people coming over, so, when they were escaping war, of course, because of the crown and religion was, they would kill you. You had to follow their rules, their religion, whatever they said, or they would kill you. And like I said before, I know one of my ancestors was a part of that, because he was, when my brother was doing our ancestors, he still is doing it all the time, but when he had sent me these ones, and it was all the way back, I swear it was back to the 900s or something, but whatever it was, this guy, some sort of religious person, like a priest that worked with the king, and he was the one who caused so much genocide of the Catholics, I think they said. I can't remember all of this stuff, but I think it was between the Christians and the Catholics. And so they held him accountable for wiping out a huge amount of people. And that's one thing too, is that we all have to recognize like things in our ancestry and why we're here and why there is karmic debt that we're cleaning up, because there is some, in our ancestral line, which we still have a part of because we're still in our fiber, and we're here to, clean up wrongs that were done, so, and you can do them just by changing the energy, putting out positive energy, being somebody in service. You change the dynamic of your ancestral line. So it's important to, be a part of the movement towards freedom and love and unity and stuff, because then we are moving all of our ancestral line into that unity, because it has been so much division created by this environment for so long. And so when I was hearing these people talk and stuff, and they were talking real slow, and I was thinking, they always made like people from the South, because I grew up in the South, that people who were in the South were stupid because they talked really slow. But for some reason, when I was listening to them, I was like, oh, I think the reason people talk slow was because there was so many different immigrant groups coming up, and they were trying to figure out how to communicate with each other, because these mountain people, they would talk really slow, and they weren't in a hurry. They weren't in a big old hurry. But I think it had something with really kind of drawing out your words, trying to get people to understand and stuff. And then it kind of just got more into a more relaxed kind of twangy thing. But when I was listening to them talking, this was supposed to be, I think in the 1835 that this movie began, the thing. And so there would have been a lot of immigrants if we kind of follow the history that we supposedly know, of how America was developed, but all of these different people trying to escape the war in all of these different countries, because all of these different countries were under attack. And then once we spread to America, from all of these different places, and then, you know, it was starting to have cities, but there started to be places for people to go out further. And what I really noticed too was, you know, because there was people who were all up in the mountains. I mean, the people who were coming from these other countries, they came over to take care of themselves. They were farmers and, you know, builders, and they knew how to take care of themselves. They weren't going in looking for someone to build them a house. They'd go out and build their house themselves. And they weren't looking for somebody to put in a market. They'd go out and grow their own food. So they were very independent, living how they wanted. And then they started making it where the mountain people, you know, that was a danger, you know, these ignorant people, and putting pressure on them. Like if they'd come in and go to schools, they'd be made fun of and stuff like that. And look at what they did by the peer pressure to get people to come and become gentlemen, go to school, become educated, because it was all about the control. Because look at what they've done is to enslave us into a system when people were living free. They weren't having to, all you had to do was work to survive. Work, and not in this way where we're working to survive, but someone's taking everything from us. It was actually whatever day's work you put in was for you and your family. It wasn't to pay taxes and all of the bullshit. And so then as people were spreading out, you know, and having to develop the America, and it's so weird because so many of these people, they just wanted a place to go and be free and, you know, have their own little farm or something. And then but they use these people also to go out and fight with the Indians. And they created so much fear and hostility with these groups, just like they do now with the division. They were doing it back then. And there was certain groups who did work more in unity with the settlers and the Indian tribes, you know. There was some, not every single person was being killed, but they, you know, they brought in they developed an army. Like, when you think about that, like, these people are trying to escape war, coming over here, and then all of a sudden, an army is developed for this new country so that they can go out and kill. Because remember, when America first started, it wasn't all 51 states, you know. They fought for some of these states. Even when you go down to New Orleans and you see this stuff is way older. This stuff was here way before what we think of America as being first developed. Like that stuff, there's houses that seem like they're more like 400 years old. But see right there, and then you think about like these different groups, like these groups that are just living out there, like the Cajun people living out there. And then you have all of these different people from Mexico, you know, the Spaniards and the Mexicans and all of these people who are just trying to live. And then the troops come in to define borders and stuff, to start warring, to pull people in, to create problems where there are none. And they're good at this. They've been doing it for a long time, and they have a slow progress. They're not rushing it. Like right now, we're seeing so much come to the surface, but still, it was still like a long-term plan. We're still in their plan. We're just seeing it now. Now we can see their games. We can see what they're doing, and we have a better understanding because we're more aware. You know, it's us waking up to have our awareness show us what's really going on behind the scenes. And so when, you know, they were creating wars and stuff back then, pulling people in to go and have to fight. And they've done this every freaking generation. They create these wars to keep families unstable, to keep us unstable. They bring in the banks. and to enslave us into their system, this taxing. They were trying to escape England so that they couldn't be taxed like that. There would be people in poverty while other people were rich. They keep this imbalance all the time in our lives. But I mean, it's going to change now because it's us recognizing it. But when you start really going in and looking at these patterns, you really start seeing how long it's been going on and what they've been doing. And of course, they're good at it now. And the technology even develops more and gives them more, like the TVs and stuff, puts them right into our homes. Before, there wasn't that. That one movie I watched too, where the woman was the Egyptian lady. She was the Egyptian immigrant as a child when she came over as an orphan, and her whole horrible story about they were burning the mummies and what they were doing to desecrate their graves. And, it was really horrible. And she was in her farmhouse. She didn't even want electricity. She saw it as like, that could burn my house down. I don't want electricity, even though they're going around with candles and stuff. But I guess, that then they know, like, I blew out my candle, not gonna have a fire, because there has been a lot of electrical fires. There has been a lot of houses that have burned up from having electricity. But she was really making a big thing about it. She didn't want to have electricity. It seemed really dangerous. And I saw another movie too the other day where a guy was like, it was an older one like that too, and he didn't want plumbing. It was like, why would I do all this stuff? You just think about that. Like, people were satisfied. How did they get pushed to stop being satisfied? They didn't have to have electricity. There's no reason why when the sun goes down that we wouldn't just go down with it. That we wouldn't be a part of the seasons. We wouldn't be a part of the daylight and nighttime sky. If we are living in nature, then we would be fine with being able to rise with the sun and set with the sun. It seems like it was a healthy way of being, because the people who were taking care of themselves, they did it during the light, and then they slept when it was dark. And then in the times when there was more darkness, it meant it was more time. There was not as much growing time. There was more time about rest and, focusing on other things. And there's a whole point to hibernation. There's a whole point to the seasons. There's a whole point to the sun rising and falling. And when we're tuned into it and being a part of that, it is a much healthier way of being. And then also, I like having an indoor toilet. So I'm glad I don't have to go out into the cold and go to the bathroom out in a cold room where stuff is, nature can be inside my toilet. But it is still, there was a point where people didn't feel like they had to have these things to be happy. They could figure out how to be happy just by living their lives. And that is something that we gave up, looking for the American dream, to have more. And then they created all of this keeping up with the Joneses and us willing to work for nothing so we could pay taxes. And then always looking to buy something so that we can feel better. Like we have this, we have that, we own this, we own that. And it's all just empty desire that doesn't give us any fulfillment at all. And so we still go around feeling empty and unsatisfied, disconnected. And it's all in this creation. When you look at where people were and how they turned it into this, then you can start seeing where you need to, find yourself again, how you need to gain clarity, how you need to prioritize what is important and what isn't important, because it's all been misled. And, people were so much more independent and self-sustaining. They could do things by themselves. Like I said, the guys could go and travel across the country without roads and get there, use an axe, chop down trees, then take off all the bark, take off all of the limbs and stuff, and then, I said limbs, branches. But they really are the limbs of a tree, they're the extension of the tree, where the tree branches out to feel life, because everything is alive. trees are conscious. And I mean, they made fun of people who wanted to connect with trees, tree huggers, but it's real. I mean, everything in nature, when you tune in, is alive, just as alive as we are. They're just in a different reality than we are, but you can tune in to their energy. And but anyways, we were, people were a lot more independent, a lot more able to take care of themselves. Like I said the other day, a town could have somebody who was the doctor, the mailman, the banker. He did all the jobs, We weren't looking for somebody that was, I don't even know so much when they started just being like, oh no, you only can have a doctor that has gone through the schooling that the Rockefellers provided for you. Yeah. I don't know when that all started, but it used to be, people who understood about the herbs and about what things in nature were for healing and anti-inflammatory and all of that stuff, and could suck poison out and stuff that they used to, that would be your healer in the local community or something. Maybe he just delivered a baby once by emergency and he did it and everybody survived and he figured out how to do it because maybe he was tapped into another state of consciousness. And then everybody saw him as somebody to go to if you were sick or something, because that was also an Outlander where she, the woman, she knew some stuff, so people started going to her when they were sick and asking for help or asking for her to come deliver their babies. It was more like that, like somebody could see in their community, oh, they can do this, let's go talk to them. And there wasn't so much defined roles. Like, we were a lot more flexible. And we got to just get back to that. We got to get back to being independent and self-sustaining and know our value. It has nothing to do with what we buy or what we own. It has everything to do with the energy that we're putting out into the world and how we feel about ourselves. So how we feel about ourselves has the most to do with the energy you put out into the world. Because if you feel like shit about yourself, then, like I said, you are going to go out as like a crusty little grump, and you're going to put out more crusty energy, and you're going to put people off. And then you're not going to find people that make you feel better and make you feel loved, because you're putting people off because you're so damn crusty. So, you need to shave off the crust and get to the pain and let it come out, because we build these barriers to protect the pain, but we really need to let it out. And when we let it out, the barriers suddenly start disappearing. So anyways, I'm going to go watch those astrology shows. And if there's some significant stuff, then I will be back. I'll talk to you later. Bye.